is coming!
Then your master will learn, vile worshipper of chaos. He will learn that it takes two to come. This video has been supported in part by Toy Hacks. Use code Vangelus through till the end of May 2023 to receive 15% off your order of labels and paraphernalia at toyhacks.com. Using the code supports the channel. Supporting the channel feeds the machine.
Primates and boss monkeys, this is internet personality Vangelus, and it sure is complicated to simply write down the name of a toy from the 2023 Transformers film. This is Transformers Core Series Rise of the Beasts mainline Voyager class Optimus Primal, who isn't Studio Series, an oddly difficult figure to acquire in its initial release window. I should also state up front, I've misplaced exactly one of my Kingdom figures over the course of these times we live in. Can you guess which one? Anyway, I'm assured this is similar to Kingdom Voyager Primal, but also demonstrably not a simple retool. I don't have a side-by-side comparison for reasons aforementioned. And hey, there are only so many ways to have a biped stand or squat to become a different biped, right? Still waiting for that legacy Optimus Minor to do the cartwheel transformation in the 2020s. The first of those bipedal modes I'll be covering is the Beast Mode, a cyberized gorilla who absolutely is not in disguise. He just thinks it's cool to be a gorilla, and I think it's cool that this guy has dedicated butt flappage and leg jointings to assume a rather natural knuckle-walking posture. Also, his coloration was a mildly pleasant surprise in person. In photos, it looks about as bland as can be, but the darker tone has a hint of gunmetal sheen buried inside that gives it an extra pinch of panache to the naked eye. Still kinda bland, but at least it's more due to what I've seen of the source material. I am kinda grumpy that the eyes are blue rather than green though, cause source material. I won't go entirely into articulation since the arms are literally just the robot modes, but I do love the up and down hinge on the gorilla neck. The mushroom peg swivel sadly is almost entirely blocked, even more so if you decide to go from knuckle walk posture to fully upright posture. This is almost presented as a third mode in the instructions, by the way, and looks just awkward enough for me to want to ignore. The knuckle walk mode simply looks superior. If you embrace the butt flap, you can get at his waist joint, and while the robot knees are the wrong way round to function here, you do get to use the extremely mild ankle tilts. By the way, you can store Primal's blades on his back, and since this isn't really a disguise to begin with, why not, right? Now this is where things get exciting and even a little better than Kingdom Optimus Primal, or what I remember of him, I still can't find him. For one, the robot feet transform way more, unfolding and expanding out of proper hideaways in the Rilla calves, aka the bot shins. With an obvious waist twist and almost nothing to do with the arms, how does this hit any other wow factor? By doing torso tricks that make me think of Studio Half-Eye's mind-blowing Godaner. One chest opens to reveal another chest which opens to make way for a head swap block, and then the chests switch places as well, but in such a simple yet interweaving manner that it makes my brain erupt in thick globules of tactile serotonin each and every time. Simple, effective, and fresh. If this is the work of the mysterious LA design team, they deserve a spot on a live stream. Fully maximized, live-action Optimus Primal looks solid. I haven't seen the film yet, nor have I been sinking full teeth with tongue into every single TV spot screen capture, but the shapes are satisfying and the completely fresh chest and feet do a lot to make this bot mode appear to be more than a standing ape with shoulder pads. The new chest plate is begging for paint though, as it has lots of detail and even a teeny maximal symbol, but visually comes off as a nondescript swathe of monotone mush, even with the minor gunmetal sheen within the plastic polymer. I am a fan of the new head, even with the wrong eye colors, as those beady beads of light look downright aggressive behind the furrowed brow and silver faceplate of Primal's visage. As mentioned earlier, you can store a pair of melee blades on Primal's back, or you can be a big freak and put them into his hands. There's also enough of a channel running through each fist to hold the swords double lightsaber style, and sadly that's all there is to say about this guy's armaments. The forearms are simply solid blocks clasped around a wrist swivel, and there's no fun funny alternate backpack positioning to present the swords as cannons or jump jets. I mean, I guess if you really want to get creative with your effect parts, but I don't have enough effect parts to want to get creative, so let's talk about articulation instead. The highlight of this articulation is the robot ball socket neck, not because he can look 360 degrees for all you freaks who like to twist your toys' heads around, it's because it's an emotive ball joint. Look at all the rock and ribble. Look at him, he can be not just looking stoically left and right, he can tilt his head like, what did you just say? Or he can tilt his head like, I'm going to pull your kidneys through your nose. It's got lots of emotion and I really enjoy that. The shoulders are very basic. You can 360 them if you want, you perverts. The outward motion allows him to T-pose. The shoulder pads can even flare up for absolute dominance. The bicep swivel is as one would swivel a bicep. The elbow joint bends about 92 degrees, and the wrists can swivel, which is pretty cool, because those hands are big and can be thrown. The waist, as I mentioned earlier, you can assert the butt flap to access the waist joint. It's a transformation joint, it serves purposes, and there is an additional butt flap for those of you who want to really get into the lifestyle. The hips can go all the way outwards, so that you can assume an H pose for absolute pogoing dominance on your foes. Legs can kick forwards. If you double access the butt flaps, the legs can even kick backwards about yay far. The thigh swivels are a little bit inset. You have to get certain angles to get full thigh swivelage. It's kind of like a thigh swivel on like a McFarlane or a Marvel Legends figure if they aren't cut right through it, it's inset in the hunk. The knees, however, are joyful. They are a double joint. It's mostly for the knuckle walk mode, but as a byproduct, you get these super dynamic knees for superhero landings or Muay Thai jaw shatters. The ankles can tilt as well. The robot feet are supposed to sort of clip onto the beast foot. Doesn't really work, but it does fuse them for this very minor ankle tilt. There's actually more ankle tilt posture stability from using these transforming wedge bits as sort of spurs underneath for sideways poses. And you can move the robot foot forward like this as well by just separating it off that clip that doesn't really work for forward stepping style poses, and it overall forms a pretty solid standing base. Allow me to demonstrate. As you can see, so articulation on Optimus Primal, it's pretty basic but pretty solid, and that neck joint gets a lot of tilt work done. As I purchased this figure with enormous trepidation, exponentially so at the ridiculous Walmart Canada MSRP of $50 Canadian, I was relying on a combination of a handful of positive reports on social media and the inadvisable mindset of, even if it sucks, it'll be timely for the algorithm. I'm glad to say I've ended up becoming enamored with this piece, from his solid modes to his nigh narcotic torso transformation. I've also felt the temptation to try practicing some of my recent mini-painting escapades on parts like the bot mode torso plate, especially once an inevitable Studio Series version surfaces, and this guy feels more like a blank canvas for fun and metallics. My main complaint is mostly that I wish there was one more major moving part, either another weapon gimmick or one more transformation step. Frankly, I wish the hands swapped out for slightly smaller gorilla ones to fully hide away that lighter gray plastic color in beast mode. Also, the Walmart price sucks. But hopefully this figure will be easy to catch on sale once the Rise of the Beasts hype window has passed us by. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and did you know it's been nearly 5 years since the last Transformers film? I was considering why there's such sheer raw excitement in Transformers community socials, and then realized this may well be the first adulthood hype cycle for the latest generation of kidult Transformers fans. Time is merciless and leaves none of us behind. Many thanks to my direct supporters in the realms of Patreon, YouTube membership, and coffee for not leaving me behind either, and bonus thanks to Toy Hacks, who must be staring at that blank canvas of a chest with concepts in mind. Use code Vangelus at checkout on toyhacks.com through the end of this month, which is like for the next 24 to 48 hours, for 15% off your order.
Feed the machine.